Hey again, welcome back, peeps. So I went through the playlist, checking things, and turns out I forgot most of chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6. I forgot most of chapter 3, skipped to chapter 6 halfway through, forgot 4 and 5. So we're gonna get to this now to get things in a little more in order. So where we left it off at was that about the slopsters and how they eat billers. And we left off at where it says, the billers must be subdued as quickly as possible. Not only are they 4 to 5 times the slopster's weight, they're also extremely powerful. A single swipe from one of those sharp-ended front legs could tear the creature's squishy, gelatinous body apart. Which is where we stopped willy-nilly because of the storage problems. When I didn't have that much storage. The biller can also kick and scratch using its other legs, which have pointed tips. They can also bass loudly to call for help, so they must be silenced as quickly as possible. The next stage involves the slobster sinking its razor-sharp beak into the biller's exoskeleton. They can then inject venom. They have 2 glands in their mouths. One produces alpha toxin and the other produces beta toxin, which are both fictional toxins, so don't try to Google these or you're not going to get anywhere meaningful. Alpha toxin is neurotoxic, which means that it shuts down the brain and nervous system, like the venom of some snakes. Beta toxin is hemotoxic and cytotoxic. The hemotoxic element of this is meant to keep the prey bleeding non-stop. Cytotoxin breaks down cells and causes tissue necrosis. They are able to control which venom they use and even mix the 2 venoms together at will, which is something earthly octopuses and snakes cannot do. The venom is so potent that one bite from the slopster could kill a humpback whale in as little as 4 hours. Once the giant woodlouse, which is the biller, has stopped struggling, it's lunchtime. Now this is where they really put those razor-sharp beaks to work, cracking open its hard shell and feasting on its meat, internal organs, and its orange-colored blood. If you were watching a slopster eat right now, you would hear a lot of crunching, tearing, slurping, and burping. The second tactic they use on the billers is to disconnect both of their nerve cords, which are the parts that connect the brain to the rest of the body, similar to a spinal cord. This renders the biller totally unable to move, yet still alive as the slopster begins to feast. They eat every part except the shell, the microphone-shaped tubes, which are called the biliary glands, which squirt out this pre-growth fluid, which is the rainbow jelly that they need for their babies, and the dollar bill, quote-unquote, which is actually their rectangular-shaped brain. So if you see pieces of biller shell that are broken, and what looks like a rectangular of beige-colored meat and 2 slimy microphones, a slopster did it. They will also ambush their prey in the canopy and attack from above by dropping down onto it, similar to the legend of the drop bears, which are carnivorous versions of koala bears that hide in the trees and supposedly they drop down onto you and attack you. This is what slopsters do with their prey, which is the billers. For abelopods, a creature that we will discuss later, they have a different method. This method involves pouncing on the abelepod, then wrapping all 10 of its tentacles around it, and then squeezing its body extremely tight. The slopster's muscular tentacles can squeeze with 11,000 pounds of pressure. This would be like having an ice cream truck parked on top of your body. The purpose of the squeezing is not for suffocating the prey, like with anacondas, pythons, and other constrictor snakes. The actual purpose is to slowly break every bone in its body. Now this next part is going to be a little bit graphic, so if you have a weak stomach, if you're squeamish, You might want to skip this part. They sometimes rhythmically squeeze the amphipod's body upwards until its internal organs bulge out of its mouth. They do this in order to get their favorite organs. They will hold its head firmly in place, sometimes squeezing its head so tightly that the teeth on its bottom jaw poke out through the top of its head because the jaw is being broken and forced into the top of its head. They will then use their beaks to tear it apart. The messes they leave are usually the skin, other parts they don't like, and a trail of purple liquid spread all over the forest floor, trees, plants, and surrounding mushrooms. They even eat the bones of their prey, which is a piece of cake for them because billers have very strong shells which can withstand up to 20 tons before they crack. And the lobster has that sharp, heavy beak, which is made of a lot of chitin and some enamel, just for that extra strength, so it can crunch that shell. So crunching bones is easy. Like octopi, lobsters are highly intelligent. They can form elaborate strategies to catch the prey, solve problems, and even learn by observing other lobsters. However, because they are so big, and therefore they have more neurons, they are a lot smarter than a typical octopus. In fact, they're smarter than orcas, dolphins, and even chimpanzees. Now, I'm going to cover this part, because this is where it gets a little terrifying, so prepare your behind. The lobsters being this smart doesn't mean they have, like, technological advances or anything like that, or they live in groups. It actually means something a lot more scary. Thanks to this high level of intelligence, they sometimes even hunt just for fun, not even eating the prey that they catch. They sometimes use the carcasses of other creatures as decorations for their territory. So if you see the billers with the holes in their shells, but they look uneaten, or the amphipods that look squeezed and have their mouths open like they were screaming or trying to bite back, it was caused by a lobster, and it was done purely for sport. They are greatly attracted to the screeching sound that amphipods make, so they will often eat them while they are still alive without injecting venom and starting from the tail, just so they can listen to them screaming. They have a lifespan of 60 to 80 years, and we're going to wrap that up because the battery is running pretty low, and I think I'm going to finish this tomorrow because it is getting kind of late. So, finishing 3 through 6 sometime tomorrow. Enjoy.